And a good Tuesday to you on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. In for Dan Kuntz, I'm Eric Granstrom once again here on the NCW Live Channel. It's like we're in a giant snow globe and somebody just shook the heck out of it here this morning as we have snow falling and heavy snow is expected until about mid-morning. We'll tell you more about that forecast coming up. We also have quite a few school delays to pass along this morning with slick road conditions. Now, coming up last half of the show this morning, we're going to talk with Cashmere Mayor Jim Fletcher. I just talked with Jim out in the hallway. I said, hey, how are the roads? He says, actually, pretty good shape on Highway 2 coming in. Just give yourself plenty of time to get to where you need to go this morning. We'll talk more about roads coming up. The passes are an absolute mess right now. As we look at snowfall upon the Wenatchee Valley, I don't know what we're going to get as far as the cams this morning, but let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? Our local tel Sky-Fi cams this morning. We're going to have to be downtown for this one because I think our cross cam is completely up in a snowbank right now, and you see the snow falling. Thanks to local tel Sky-Fi Wireless Network for providing us our Valley View cameras this morning. Looking down upon Pybus Market this morning, and you can just barely make out the Columbia River back behind it there. Snowy morning here in north central Washington. To camera 2, and again, I don't know how much success we're going to have. Look, this is jump off. Okay, somewhere down there in the distance is Wenatchee, I think. Or maybe we're skipping it altogether here for this Tuesday, the 12th of February, 2019. So good morning to the Stemilt Basin area. Camera 3 this morning is, oh, that's pretty. Let's see, do we see any wildlife? Looking for wildlife. That's pretty deep snow there. That's on top of Billy Goat. Since we can't see down in the valley below, we're just getting a nice view of the trees nearby. And there you see some of the fire remnants from a few years ago in that horrible Pateros fire that crept down into the city and took out quite a few homes. But Pateros, strong. Way to go, baby. And good look at the mountainside this morning with heavy snowfall in north central Washington. Camera 4, do we even have a camera 4 this morning? Oh, we do. And this is what? Is this Malaga? Oh, Hose Landing. Oh, okay. That is the Columbia River off to the right there, and then pretty much just a snowbank. Otherwise, we do have some problems as far as the snow is concerned and what it's done to area travel. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but thanks to Sky-Fi and local tel's wireless network, Sky-Fi, for providing us our Valley View cameras this morning, as it looks pretty blue outside this morning. Actually, it's pretty white if you're traveling. Let's see what the forecast says for us today. Well, the National Weather Service again has issued a winter storm warning until 10 o'clock this morning. Heavy snow. They're saying maybe another 2 to 4 inches could fall just this morning. And by the looks of it outside right now, that could be the case. Now, believe it or not, they're saying this could turn to rain by this afternoon. Now, however, our high today is only expected to be 29 degrees. So if that turns to rain, yikes, that would be freezing rain, and that would not be good for anybody. But 29, the expected high today. The snow chance pretty much 100% this morning, turning to a 70% chance of showers this afternoon. Tonight, not going to cool off very much. Lows down to 21 as we're kind of moderating in our temperatures. Tomorrow, we're going to get a nice sunny day. So if you've been waiting to take some new pictures of the snow and the sun, then the blue skies will come your way tomorrow with a high of 32. Extended forecast, cloudy, chance of snow returning on Thursday and Friday. Good chance Thursday night. Not so much on Friday. 29 for the high on Thursday, 33 for the high Friday. So warming up quite a bit from where we've been. Partly cloudy on Saturday with some clouds on Sunday. No real precipitation expected over the weekend, and then sunshine on Monday as we look into next week a little bit as we get down to those colder temperatures again back in the teens at night. Speaking of temperatures, our high yesterday in Wenatchee, it says up at the airport 17 degrees. The low 12 degrees. The record high for today was set in 1967 of 56. 12 was the record low in 1981. Sunrise this morning is just a few minutes away at 7:11. Sunset tonight at 5:20. Again, we're adding about 3-4 minutes of daylight per day. Now, with the winter weather storm watch and the outlook not looking good, it's also not looking good in the mountain passes this morning. Wait till you see these pictures of Snoqualmie Pass. So let's go up and check the DOT cameras this morning for the mountain passes. Snoqualmie Pass closed right now. Roadway will remain closed eastbound from milepost 34 near North Bend and westbound from milepost 106 near Ellensburg due to severe weather conditions, avalanches, and avalanche danger. Opening time is unknown, and updates will be provided as conditions change. It's currently snowing hard, poor visibility, drifting snow, and avalanches with avalanche danger. 14 degrees at the summit of Snoqualmie Pass. So again, I-90 Snoqualmie Pass is closed. So that means a lot of traffic is going to be diverted onto Stevens Pass. Change required on all vehicles on Stevens Pass with compact snow and ice on the roadway. Currently snowing and 16 degrees at the summit of Stevens Pass. Now, further to the east on US 2, there is a closure from Leavenworth up through the Tumwater Canyon because of avalanche conditions, and Chumstick is your reroute this morning. So just be aware of that. If you're traveling Highway 2, you will not be able to go west of Leavenworth because of a closure of Tumwater Canyon due to sliding conditions, avalanche conditions in the Tumwater Canyon. So again, your reroute is through the Chumstick and Plain to get to between Coles Corner and Leavenworth this morning. Let's head up to US 97 Blewett Pass. There's a traction tire advisory in effect there with snow on the roadway. Currently snowing and 12 degrees at the summit. The traction advisory in effect at Blewett Pass. So believe it or not, that's the best pass we have, although looking at it right there, it looks kind of like the roads here in north central Washington. Now, again, the roads are slick this morning here in the Wenatchee Valley and around north central Washington. That has caused some school delays. So far, we have some delays. I think Grant County might be looking at some closures again. We have local schools that are delayed this morning. We will get to that coming up in the newscast on the way. Also on the way here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, we'll keep a close eye on what's happening as far as any more road closures or opening, as the case may be. And that weather, that is definitely the primary concern for all of us here across the state of Washington. Later on in the show, we'll get you the latest sports. I spent most of the night last night at Wenatchee High School covering the district tournament for the Caribou Trail League, and we have two champions that hail from the same town as our guest this morning. How about that? It was timed nicely. We'll get a recap of the district tournament and give you a preview of what's on schedule for today, although that schedule might be tenuous with the road conditions. We'll follow that throughout the day as well. Mike Magnotti has his opinion. We'll take a look at this day in history, celebrity birthdays. It's all coming up right here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley as we're 7 minutes past the hour. News is on the way next.
Hello, my name is Nathan Schreiber. I'm a physician here at CVCH. My specialty is family medicine, which is a pretty general specialty where I get to treat all walks of life, newborns, children, women, adults, elderly, everything in between. I have additional training in osteopathic manipulative treatment, OMT for short, where I use my hands to diagnose and treat musculoskeletal conditions which are causing pain and inflammation. I look forward to meeting you and being a part of your healthcare.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Heavy snowfall and 17 degrees in the Wenatchee Valley. A winter storm warning in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Maybe another 2 to 4 inches of snow could fall today, and that is causing problems for area schools. No school today for students in the Quincy and Moses Lake school districts due to weather and road conditions. Wenatchee School District, also Eastmont School District, running 2 hours late. So too are the Cashmere, Waterville, and Mansfield school districts today, with more snow on the way. Ephrata and Soap Lake schools are 2 hours late. Make sure your kids are dressed warmly for the sub-freezing temperatures. More information available on our website at ncwlife.com. Again, let me run down those school delays and closures. No school for Quincy and Moses Lake schools today. 2-hour delay for Wenatchee, Eastmont, Cashmere, Waterville, and Mansfield. Also a 2-hour delay for Ephrata and Soap Lake schools. Also, I read this morning that Big Bend Community College is closed. The campus closed for the day today in Moses Lake. I-90 Snoqualmie Pass closed down last night due to numerous collisions and spinouts caused by blizzard-like conditions. One of the accidents resulted in the death about 2 miles east of the summit. The driver of a big rig was killed when he crashed his Freightliner truck into a median barrier after suffering a medical episode, according to the State Patrol troopers. The driver, whose name is being withheld until family notification, it was from Missoula, Montana. The Douglas County Board of Commissioners has directed the Douglas County Courthouse in Waterville to close today due to extreme weather conditions. The Douglas County Clerk's Office and Superior Court will be open. The court calendars will be held unless the roads are determined to be impassable. Questions should be directed to the Douglas County Clerk, Tristan Worthen, at 509-745-8529. Douglas County Auditor's Office will be open for elections purposes only today until 8 o'clock tonight for election night. If you have any questions, you can contact Ruth Martin there at 888-6403. Well, the snowstorm, that hit Friday night landed especially hard on the Waterville Plateau, with blizzard-like conditions and snow drifts forcing the closure of most of the weekend of most roads and highways in and out of Waterville. Road workers and residents say it was a challenging weekend.
Ever since the snowstorm started Friday evening, the Waterville Plateau has been a problem for road crews and residents. All right, we're with Dale Myers of the Douglas County Transportation and Land Services up here in Waterville, where they've had quite the weekend and more snow expected. Dale, what's it been like for the crews?
Constant battle. Saturday was just kind of hit and miss, trying to get people home, and it was blowing in faster than we could keep up with it. And then yesterday we went through, and pretty much most of our roads out to the north and over the mountain just have one lane of travel through them right now. And we're still not into everybody's houses, and we're going back and trying to push things out and widen it out and get everybody so it's safe to travel. No school up here today. Tomorrow's looking skeptical. Currently there's a truck stuck in the ditch up on the mountain that spent the night. We're trying to get it out and keep pushing out.
What's the biggest challenge you faced up here in getting these roads cleared?
Probably the wind. The wind is tough. Light snow makes it so it blows easier, and just keeping it all pushed back.
Pretty hard. What was it like for you, Miles?
It wasn't too bad. We're kind of used to the winds, the high winds, a lot of snow up here on the plateau. Wasn't too bad.
Did you have to dig yourself out?
I got stuck 3 times in the snowplow, so yeah, you can say I had to dig myself out.
And there's supposed to be more snow today. Are you ready for it?
Sure, no problem. Bring it on. I'm a wheat farmer. The more snow we get, the better moisture we'll have.
And Harry's lived here for 40 plus years and says this storm this weekend was about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, it's about the worst I've ever seen since I've been here. I've seen more accumulation of snow, but not in blizzard conditions.
What was it like on Saturday when you got up and took a look at this?
He just grabbed a blanket and hunkered in. There was no going outside. It was terrible.
I noticed there's some pretty big drifts on your home. What do you do? Just wait for those to melt?
Yeah, we'll just have to wait till spring comes around and takes it away. We'll get some Chinooks maybe and winds, and that'll take care of it.
They say more snow today and tonight. You ready for it?
Not really, but I think it says 6 out of the next 8 days of snow.
I guess it's all part of living in Waterville.
Yeah, that's part of living in north central Washington, period.
Well, I worked at the fairgrounds in Waterville for a couple of years. Those folks are awfully tough, and they're pretty much used to the snow. A Lake Chelan area barn was destroyed in a pre-dawn fire Sunday. Chelan Fire and Rescue reported in a Facebook post that crews responded to a structure fire off Henderson Road that was reported shortly before 6 o'clock Sunday morning. On arrival, crews found a 20 by 30 foot to 2-story barn fully involved. 2 Chelan County Sheriff's deputies had arrived earlier. Crews had to overhaul 300 feet of hose line through heavy snow because there was no nearby fire hydrants. There were reports of chickens and goats inside the barn. Officials say none of the animals survived. The fire's cause is under investigation. Manson fire crews also responded. Crews were challenged with severe weather conditions, including temperatures that plummeted to 9 degrees. Well, voters are set to decide a variety of tax levies in today's special election. Today is the deadline to return mail-in ballots for Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties. In Leavenworth, a proposed levy would improve EMS services in the Cascade Hospital District. Voters in Waterville will decide the fate of both a replacement maintenance and operations levy and a capital replacement levy for technical and facility upgrades at Waterville School District. Manson School District is also running a replacement M&O levy and a capital improvement levy for facility upgrades. NCW Life will post the election results on our website and Facebook page tonight. In part two of his report on Wenatchee's rat problem, NCW Life's Cal Fitzsimmons says rats have become a fact of life, so people need to take action to keep the rodents out of their homes.
As Wenatchee's rat population has soared in the past 3 years, experts are quick to point out it isn't just limited to the apple capital, but is a problem in outlying communities as well. But what, if any, dangers do rats pose to humans? After all, Confluence health officials report that none of their facilities have treated anyone bitten by a rat. Dave Prosh of the Chelan-Douglas County Health District says the rats we're seeing are Norway rats, also called wharf rats, brown rats, and sewer rats. And though they aren't biting people, they are not harmless. They have the potential to spread diseases by contaminating food and furnishings, and they also love to gnaw and can do serious damage to a home or vehicle. David Kaler, owner of Harvest Valley Pest, says he's seen the destruction firsthand.
That they're really destructive. They're really destructive. Because they're rodents, their teeth grow constantly, which is very exciting stuff. And so they have to gnaw in order to keep their teeth growth down. And so they gnaw through walls, they gnaw right through sheetrock, they gnaw through electrical wiring, through plumbing. We've had customers have significant plumbing leaks as a result of it.
Kaler says ridding a residence of rats requires a two-pronged approach.
So the biggest thing is figuring out how they are getting into a home and what the conducive conditions are around that home that's allowing it. And so identifying that for our customers and helping them figure out a plan of action to reduce the accessibility to the home and the attractiveness of the home. That's the biggest part of a service. And so we want to look for entry points, figure out how they're getting in, look for food sources, water sources, and harborage sources. And then anything we can do to reduce all of that is the number one way to get control of rat population on a property. And then once we've come up with a plan for environmental controls around the home, then we would also implement a baiting program and a trapping program to reduce and eliminate the actual population that's there. But if you only do baiting and trapping without reducing what's drawn them in the first place, you're going to be fighting a losing battle.
John Barta, who lives a couple blocks from Washington Park in Wenatchee, has been battling rats since November. His cameras first caught sight of one outside his home, trying to find its way inside. Then those sightings became a regular occurrence. Barta set up traps in his carport with peanut butter as bait and successfully caught his first rat in January. Yes, the Wenatchee Valley has a rat problem that has grown tremendously in the past 3 years. How that came to be remains a matter for speculation, but regardless, homeowners should be taking steps to keep them out. Cal Fitzsimmons reporting for NCW Life.
Thank you much, Cal. Former Chelan County Sheriff Mike Brickert is profiled in a recent video produced by a group, Paralyzed Veterans of America. It documents Brickert's recovery and inspirational life after a near-fatal bike crash while serving in the National Guard during the Gulf War. Here's a look.
My name is Mike Brickert from Wise River, Montana. We originally went in the United States Navy in 1966. I was a submariner, diver, went to Vietnam. I got out and basically I joined the Washington State Patrol. I was a trooper there and I joined the Army Reserves. I was a drill sergeant in the Army Reserves, and then from there I had switched over to the Washington Air National Guard as a security forces. I went to the Gulf War, Air Base Ground Defense in security forces. Got pulled off of that and I was the bodyguard and driver for General Horner. And then I was activated again for OEF operation during Freedom, and that's when I got hurt, injured in 2003. And I was bicycling with the commander there, and I ended up racing towards our tents, and an ammunition truck came around beside me and then stopped in front of me and ran right in the back of that thing. So I'm a T2 paraplegic complete, so you never know what life's going to bring. The first step is the hardest, but once you take that first step, the rest of them are easy. I tell people I've never failed in my life, and they look at me kind of funny, but you know, since my dad was a coach, he taught me two things. He says, number one, if your goal is to cross the finish line, he says you have to enter the race, so you got to try. And he said, and I don't care if you crawl across the finish line, you finish, so you never give up. So although I've run a lot of races in my lifetime, I haven't crossed the finish line first all the time, but each race was a success because each race I got stronger, better shape, more knowledgeable, until finally I did cross the finish line first. So those were all successes. So basically, I guess my philosophy now is, as long as we try and never quit, we cannot fail.
Brickert is still an active cyclist. He's married and makes his home in Wise River, Montana. 21 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this 12th of February 2019. We have a winter storm warning in effect until 10 o'clock this morning with another 2 to 4 inches of snow possible. We have closures on the roads. I-90 Snoqualmie Pass is closed. Also, Tumbler Canyon on Highway 2 is closed. Change required on Stevens Pass. Traction advisory on Blewett. Also, school delays and closures this morning. No school for Quincy or Moses Lake schools today. A 2-hour delay for Wenatchee, Eastmont, Cashmere, Waterville, Mansfield. Also, Ephrata and Soap Lake running behind by 2 hours. If you have an update for us on some news happening, be sure and get a hold of us. There you see it on the bottom of your screen. news@ncwlife.com is our email address. You can contact us directly through our Facebook page or call us too at 888-NCWL. That's 888-6295. Sports news comes your way next on the Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for a Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Kevin Prosser, and this is my print shop, Color Effects in Cashmere. Color Effects offers screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing on t-shirts, jerseys, bags, banners, signs, and more. With 30 years experience, you won't be disappointed with the quality and quick turnaround times you will get at more than a fair price. Please call Color FX.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
Heavy snowfall and 17 degrees outside our studios here in downtown Wenatchee as we continue on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz, and time for sports. Come snow or sleet or dark of night, they were bound and determined to get the District 6 1A tournament's first round in the books last night at Wenatchee High School. And on the girls' side, a familiar team rose to the occasion once again. The Cashmere girls captured their 6th consecutive District 6 championship last night at Wenatchee High School with a 76-37 win over Omak. The Bulldogs were led by the 37 points of junior Haley Van Lith, who says winning championships never gets old.
I think it will never get old, and each year we have a new team to work with, and I'm so proud of us. We're playing our best basketball when we need to be playing our best basketball, and my teammates are playing great right now, and it's just a great feeling, and we're definitely not satisfied, but we're happy with our progress.
Junior forward Grace Erdman chipped in 12 for Cashmere as she and her teammates had to wait 10 days to finally play last night's game.
You know, it's year 3 for me for district championships, so I'm pretty happy. I mean, these girls, we've been working hard the past 10 days, I think we've been practicing. So just to be able to come out and finally play with like the delayed game and everything, we were just super psyched to come out and play with each other. Yeah, it's a great feeling. You can never get old of like cutting down that net in front of all your friends.
The game was supposed to be played last Saturday, but was postponed due to weather. Cashmere coach Brent Darnell says he could tell the layoff caused his team to come out a little slow.
It's postponed, and there was a little lull there. You know, you're waiting 7 to 8 days to play, so and you're playing a team that you've played 4 times in a row, and that's hard. You know their strengths and weaknesses. They know your strengths and weaknesses. But excuses aside, you still got to come play.
Cashmere will advance to a crossover game against either Deer Park or Colville in Cashmere. For Van Lith, it's all about taking that next step.
Obviously, we want that state championship, but we know from upsets, we've been upset before, we can't overlook anybody. And that's just the great thing about 1A girls basketball is the competition is great, especially at state, and we just have to take it one game at a time.
Congratulations to the Cashmere girls on yet another district championship. So there you have it, the Cashmere girls yet again another district championship. Earlier in an earlier game, Chelan had its season end with a 47-39 loss to Okanagan. Okanagan will face Omak in a loser-out game at Brewster High School tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Well, the District 6 Boys Championship took on a much different look in the evening's finale. Omak jumped out to a 7-point early lead as Cashmere just couldn't find the range, but it didn't take long for sophomore Mason Landeck to start hitting as he led Cashmere with 22 points as the Bulldogs from the South won the District Championship by a final of, well, there you see it, 70-58, the final. Cashmere winning the district championship both on the boys and the girls sides. Earlier in the night, the Chelan boys had their season end with a 62-39 loss to Omak. So it'll be Omak and Okanagan for a last chance to move on tomorrow at Brewster. That game will start at 8 o'clock. There you see, of course, coming up on the weekend, it will be Cashmere hosting in the crossover games. Prep schedule for today, Central Washington 1B District Tournament gets underway at Ephrata High School with the Entiat girls facing Moses Lake Christian at 6. The Entiat boys will have to wait till tomorrow to face Riverside Christian. The Big 9 district play-in games are tonight as well. Eastmont girls are on the road at Davis at 5:45. The other game has Eisenhower at West Valley at 6. On the boys' side, district play-in for the Big 9. Eisenhower boys are at Moses Lake at 7, while Eastmont is at Davis for another reunion of the Juarez brothers. Coach, as the Wildcats battle the Pirates, that game at 7:30. Again, tenuous times for those games today because of the weather. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That's sports news at 27 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee for this 12th day of February 2019. Cloudy skies, heavy snows falling, 17 degrees in the valley. Let's see what's the obscure holiday of the day today. Quite controversial dude, actually. Darwin. It's unofficially the holiday, the National Darwin Day today, the work of an English naturalist, Charles Darwin, known as International Darwin Day as well, a day to celebrate of science and humanity. Born in 1809, actually on this date, that's why they gave him the day today. Charles Darwin revolutionized the field of natural history by putting forth the theory of evolution by natural selection. In his book On the Origins of Species, published in 1859, he argued that all present-day life forms on Earth came from a single ancestor and that diversity in the animal and plant kingdom came due to natural selection, migration, extinction, and genetic mutations. Now, of course, this flew in the face of religious context and was highly, put down when it first came out, but now scientists pretty much hail that Charles Darwin kind of knew what he was talking about. Of course, now they have the tongue-in-cheek Darwinian Awards for those in the human race that are really trying to prove that natural selection might be a good thing. Today, National Darwin Day. All right, let's take a look at this day in history. On this date in 1921, Winston Churchill became the British Prime Minister, widely considered one of the 20th century's most significant figures. That is, Churchill remains popular in the UK and Western world, where he's seen as a victorious wartime leader who played an important role in defending liberal democracy from the spread of fascism. Also praised as a social reformer and a writer. I don't know if you knew this. Among his many awards, the Nobel Prize in Literature. How about that? Winston Churchill became the British Prime Minister on this date in 1921. On this date in 1935, that guy right there, we should have called him Radar O'Reilly. First secret demonstration of radio signals detecting aircraft by Robert Watson Watt at Daventry, England in 1935. Mr. Watt was asked to comment on reports of a German death ray based on radio. Watt and his assistant Arnold Frederick Wilkins quickly determined death ray by radar not possible, but Wilkins suggested using radio signals to locate aircraft at long distances. Yes, the radar. Established on this date in 1935. 1995, it was on this date that Bonnie Blair, who could forget Bonnie Blair, skated to a female record in the 500-meter of 38.69 seconds. That's picking them up and putting them down. Bonnie Blair did that on this date in 1995. Celebrity birthdays today, the first of which, well, he's one of our greatest presidents of all time. Unless you're from the South, and then you don't like this guy much at all. Abe Lincoln, born on this date, February 12th, 1809. Of course, the 16th president of the United States, regarded as one of the greatest presidents. Lincoln became president in 1861 amid a crisis over slavery in the Union. Shortly after his election, seven southern states seceded and formed the Confederate States, beginning the Civil War. An incredible, astute politician, Lincoln outmaneuvered several political enemies at his time. His oratory and writing appealed to the American people. Of course, the Gettysburg Address, 7 years ago. That address, of course, now we've learned in history, was a lot longer, but it was a cold day, so he shortened it up quite a bit. Abe Lincoln, born on this date in 1809, 16th president of the United States. Well, this guy's still alive, and man, what a career he had. Bill Russell's 85 today, 5-time NBA Most Valuable Player, 12-time All-Star. He was the centerpiece of the Celtics dynasty, winning 11 NBA championships during his 13-year career. That's a ring for every finger and one toe. How about that? Bill Russell celebrating his 85th birthday today, and as a kid, I vaguely remember seeing the end of his career and thinking, man, that's a very large man putting a ball in a little hoop. Bill Russell celebrating his 85th birthday today. Also, a guy you'd never heard of before, probably. His name is Raymond Kurzweil. Now, who the heck is Raymond Kurzweil? Well, first of all, he's 70 today. He's an American inventor and futurist. He's involved in fields such as optical character recognition, text-to-speech synthesis, speech recognition technology, and electronic keyboard instruments. Basically, that technology where you can talk into your phone and the text appears, that's this guy. He invented the whole thing. And when it doesn't work, you can blame Raymond Kurzweil. He's 70 today. By the way, was employed by Google in 2012, still works at Google. He is their director of engineering. Raymond, happy birthday today. And happy birthday if it's your birthday. If you have a birthday that you would like to share with us so we can share with the general public, you can do so through our Facebook page. Love to hear you there. Or you can email me at news@ncwlife.com. 33 minutes past the hour. Again, school delays and closures today. We have quite a few out in Grant County, Quincy, and Moses Lake schools. No school today. There's a 2-hour delay for Wenatchee, for Eastmont, for Cashmere, Waterville, Mansfield, also Ephrata and Soap Lake schools. All 2-hour delays today. And we'll see about that and what happens with this snowstorm, because we're expected to get maybe another 2 to 4 inches here this morning. And you can see that heavy snowfall outside as you walk out this morning and you think, oh, here I go again. I got to clean the car again, got to scrape the driveway again. Well, it could turn to rain this afternoon. I don't know about that, but that's the forecast anyway. And a closure of I-90 Snoqualmie Pass this morning. Also a closure of Tumwater Canyon. You can get around it by going through Chumstick and through Plain. But again, that's going to take you some time. And then when you get up to Stevens Pass, it's a chain requirement for all vehicles. Blewett Pass with a traction advisory. We'll take a break, come back. Mike Magnotti with his opinion on the way. And also we'll find out what's happening in the lovely town of Cashmere with their mayor, Jim Fletcher. It's straight ahead. I'll Wake Up Wenatchee Valley here for a Tuesday. Stay right there.
Antique Mall at Cashmere wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. With 15,000 square feet to explore, Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone. For repurposing projects, do-it-yourselfers, and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, this is the place to find your next project. Antique Mall at Cashmere, their friendly staff is here to help you. Stop on by today.
About Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
Put winter weather in its place with a new Cub Cadet snow thrower from Rose Tractor. Hi, this is Corey. Let us help you get through the season with our line of Cub Cadet snow throwers. When it comes to snow, never let winter weather get in your way. The Cub Cadet X Series line of snow throwers offers 3 levels of snow clearing power and a host of award-winning models. Get ahead of the snow. Let us help you get into the right snow thrower for the job. Rose Tractor, family owned and operated, located at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
What's your auto mocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes. My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. No wonder women are angry, and no wonder they're speaking out. For far too long, we've ignored the fact that women have been abused and harassed at the hands of some men. And yes, maybe it's not you, but it's somebody. Official stats used to be that 1 in 4 women would be sexually assaulted to some degree by the time she graduated high school. But in reality, this statistic is far too conservative. But even accepting that it's 25% of women who suffer this abuse, isn't that conservative figure a justifiable explanation for why women are speaking out and demanding change? Of course it is. This is Mike, Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV Advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Let's wake up Wenatchee Valley for a Tuesday, the 12th of February, 2019. Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kutz. And the gentleman to my left is Jim Fletcher. He's the mayor of Cashmere. Thanks for coming in, Jim.
Glad to be here this morning.
Well, it's fortuitous that you would come in today after both your high school varsity teams win the district championship last night. Congratulations. I know you had a lot to do with that.
To the kids.
That's one thing about Cashmere that I fell in love with instantly when I was working at the radio station back in the day, is how supportive that community is of its kids and its programs and its schools, not just sports, but all the way through it. I thought, well, this is a pretty unique place.
It is, and I think really the schools become the heart and soul of the community. You know, all the people who live around the town and up and down the valley whose kids come to that school, that really is where we set our identity. Our kids are there, we go there, we sit in the teams, we get to know the other parents of our kids, and so that's our first level of identity, and probably their most valuable attribute that Cashmere has.
How big is Cashmere now?
Well, the city itself is about 3,500 people, and
Okay.
we haven't really grown territorial-wise very much over the years, and there's probably an equal number now living around the town, and what's filled in what used to be Orchard next to the town.
Which is considerable considering that school district. We were just talking about the schools and the kids that draw in and things like that, and a challenge, I assume, for the city to be able to handle not just its people within the boundaries, but also that outlying area.
Yeah, particularly people who live, south of town, way west of town. The only access right now to the highway is by going through town, and once the Goodwin Bridge project starts, that will be totally closed, and they'll all have to come through town to get there. So that will add a lot of traffic to the one and only railroad crossing on Division Street that everybody has to go through to get through town. Throw a couple of trains in right at the time the school gets out, and we have a headache of traffic that for 20 minutes at least rivals Wenatchee Avenue.
So I know you had a workshop, community who came in, gave their input. What did you guys talk about?
We had a great workshop. The city council invited the residents of the town to come in, and a lot of people from around the town attended also, because we consider them part of the town. And we broke into small groups, had conversations around, well, what is it about Cashmere's future that we're trying to work towards? What do we want to see save? How are we going to handle this growth that's going around us? And try to get ahead of this a little bit rather than reacting to it. And the things that still came out is the quality of town is that you can get around, you can walk, you feel safe. You feel like you know people in town. You walk into a store, you're generally going to see people that you know in those stores. A cohesiveness that just feels like, a small town. So that's our core. How do we preserve that while still adding more people to it? Because as you grow, like Wenatchee, the bigger the town gets, the harder it is to know everybody. Then there's more things, more going on. So you can't participate in everything anymore, so you start to become more in smaller groups, and you start losing that tight community attitude.
Right.
So I think, again, getting back to the schools, that's going to, for a long time, become the core heartbeat of Cashmere.
Sure. Well, that's not a bad thing, right?
That's a great thing. It's about why our schools are so strong and why we support the schools and are willing to invest money in expanding the schools. Another sign of growth in the valley. We're having to expand schools to accommodate more kids who live up and down that valley and attend school in Cashmere.
In the grand scheme, Cashmere might be unique, but in Eastern Washington, probably not so, in the mix of partnerships that you have to have in order to make things happen. For example, there's no police force in Cashmere. It's the Chelan County Sheriff's Office.
Correct. Right? We hire or contract with the county sheriff to provide things. We work closely with all the other agencies, the Port District, the county, and it's a lot of supporting agencies, fire district, even our volunteer fire department and our fire district 6s around town work very closely together. So there's still a lot of volunteerism that goes on, but yet you have to leverage resources anymore. We had a conversation with the school superintendent, Glenn Johnson, about the future and how can the city and the school district cooperative, leverage our resources to build more sports fields that are used both by the school and by the community. And some of that's always gone on. You know, the soccer fields behind the Vale have been open both ways, but we need to always be looking at how can we work together. We can no longer afford either of us to do it alone.
Well, and the challenge there too, I imagine, is that like Wenatchee, you only have so much space geographically speaking to be able to put large-sized facilities like that.
It's very true. And when you look at Google Earth, I love Google Earth because you can look down on the town, you can see everything, and you can definitely see the landforms and how the old river cuts through the valley. And you start looking at how that influences where the roads are, where the growth is occurring. So, yeah, all of a sudden, well, there is no space where we can go in and just start putting in bigger parks. It also influences where roads go, which really influences where you can run a sewer line. So we have a sewer treatment plant that has a lot of capacity, but we start looking at where we can run lines to hook up our customers. You just can't go up and over a hill.
Right.
Yes, you could. Engineering-wise, it's very expensive, though we don't want to do that.
Right.
So that constrains and forces the growth of Cashmere into a very tight little area. And we've got to get ahead of the curve and say, how are we going to accommodate growth? One of the things that came out of the community workshop is that while we want to preserve small town Cashmere, we also need more apartments. We need more homes for people to live in because you can no longer afford to live in Cashmere. So how can we encourage developers to do apartments but yet keep the apartments at a size and design that retains however you don't want to define small town?
Sure. Sure.
Quite a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And a challenge for builders and designers too to come up with a plan that works within that environment.
Yeah, and a lot of what we learned from the community session also is being used by our planning commission to actually look at our planning codes, building codes, and say, okay, how do we adjust to, again, allow houses that we can afford to buy, allow places of small apartments, large apartments, and still keep that attitude where I can walk down the street, my wife can walk down the street and feel safe when she's doing so.
We need to take a quick break and come back. I want to talk with more about the future of Cashmere and about the bridge replacement that's being planned that will definitely impact downtown Cashmere. He's the mayor, Jim Fletcher. We'll come back with more coming up next on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for a Tuesday. Stay right there.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Thanks to the help I received at Goodwill,
I have a job. I'm working now. Thanks to Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill. Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Goodwill's Employment Connection Center is a free walk-in job search assistance program designed to get you back to work. When you donate to or shop at Goodwill, you're really helping people find work.
Thank you. Goodwill, there's more behind the store.
The snows continue to stack up outside our studios in downtown Wenatchee. We're at 17 degrees. The winter storm warning in effect until about 10 o'clock this morning. Maybe another 4 inches of snow expected. We do have some road closures. I-90 Snoqualmie is closed in both directions, east and westbound, due to really miserable conditions there. Not much better on Stevens Pass with heavy snowfall. A chain requirement for all vehicles. Tumwater Canyon is closed because of avalanche conditions. There is a detour available through Plain and the Chumstick. It's going to take you a long time to get to where you need to go today. If you can wait till later on, it might be better. I don't know if actually mountains are going to get any better today or not. Visiting with Jim Fletcher, the mayor of Cashmere. Thanks for taking the time to come in this morning.
Glad to be here.
So the bridge replacement, that is going to be an interesting endeavor. This is what, a year off before we actually see this happen?
It's my understanding it'll be next year they actually start the construction process, and it'll take 2 construction seasons with the river. So it'll be, at least 2 years of that bridge being closed.
It's an interesting conundrum for Cashmere because you're cut off by the river. And so you basically have only so many entrance and egress into the city. That's going to take 50% almost basically of your way to get into town with the Goodwin Bridge going away. What are you guys thinking as far as traffic is concerned? You mentioned the railroad crossing and everything else, and how do we mitigate that?
Yeah, well, again, with the bridge gone, Goodwin Bridge is also the only overpass on the railroad.
Right.
Everything else in town, we have 4 crossings.
Right.
All 4 crossings are at grade level. 1 train blocks every crossing for the entire thing. So that's really one of the backups on the traffic, is every time a train comes through. And so without Goodwin Bridge, the traffic has no alternative. So the first question we really had was working with our emergency services. If there's an emergency, how do they get across the tracks when there's a train blocking them? And so we've been looking at putting a satellite aid car on the south side of the tracks, maybe at the city shops, just in case. So we have a backup aid car. It's not that it happens every hour. Well, it does happen quite frequently, but when there's an emergency, you want to have an alternative to get there, a way of getting that aid car to where it needs to be. Long term, that might even be something more of a fire truck or something parked on the south side. That's the first issue, to take care of the emergencies. The second one is, we have to encourage more patience, because it is going to be everybody on Division Street heading out to the highway some way. There aren't only so many ways there. We're going to have patience. We're working on how can we deal with that, how can we encourage other alternatives, but there are physically not too many choices.
Mm-hmm.
I think long term what we're looking at then is, once Goodwin reopens, how do we retrain people to say, hey, wait a minute, I can get to the highway that way now? Because 2 years without it, we kind of get back in town. So again, the county is taking the lead on that, but they'll have a phase 2, which will improve the rest of Goodwin Road, and a phase 3, which will then tie Goodwin Road back down into where the Port District offices are. And then we'll be able to maybe tie Evergreen back in and make it better. So again, there's a smoother way of getting to the freeway, especially if you're going west.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even talking to Link about, is there a way of getting a park and ride someplace out there? So again, looking at the transportation network, once Goodwin is done and going into the future, how do we improve our transportation system in the future, for the next 20 years or however long it takes?
And I guess with a town of 3,500, you're a blip on the radar as far as Amtrak and as far as Burlington Northern is concerned. They're not going to change their schedule to accommodate what you guys need.
Yeah, well, Amtrak's not really a player. They stop in Wenatchee and Leavenworth, and it's once a day.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bigger problem with Burlington, where we struggle, is would love to see them, again, the way they honk their horns through towns, you have to honk it 4 times for every crossing. So that's 16 times that they blast the horn coming through that 3-block stretch of Cashmere because of our 4 crossings.
Right.
Could they say, look, that's really 1 crossing, and we could honk the horn 4 times? Because by the time they finish honking, they're already through town.
Well, that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
And it's a loud horn. Even in my office, at the mayor's office, sometimes you have to stop your conversation when a train comes through.
Sure.
That's a lot of noise. Tongue in cheek, we would. I'd like to throw out crazy ideas, but I would say, let's get the tunnel machine and we'll put the whole darn railroad under the city. Well, we can't afford to do that, obviously.
No, that's like billions of dollars.
Yeah,
Jim,
you dream. You dream about the future. You dream, how can we make Cashmere better? But maybe by dreaming that way, you come up with another solution.
Sure. Sure.
So.
There is a bar in Burlington, Washington, that is right next to a train track. It's called the Train Wreck, and every time the train goes by and blows the horn, you get half off your drinks. So, I don't know if that's an incentive for what's happening.
Yeah,
in
maybe we can
Cashmere,
work with Mission Square and get somebody in there and say, hey, but as hurricane as the train is, they might go broke.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. The development of the old mill site's got to be exciting for the city of Cashmere.
Yeah, it's, again, the port has 2 buildings presently under construction. There's room for a third. I know they have tenants lined up for some of the spaces. I can't tell you right now what their total tenancy is, but so we have some new businesses moving to town there. Mostly will be probably warehouse or maybe manufacturing, small shops type of businesses. One's a distillery. They're actually storing their kegged whiskey there, so that'd be, but they won't sell there, darn. But again, it creates traffic, it creates jobs, it creates activities in there. It's kind of like Lowell's Trust. It's new, there's jobs there, but that's another one of those growing pains because now you have a manufacturer in the old mill site that produces noise.
Right.
The noise travels out of that area and it disturbs people that are used to 20 years of quiet.
Sure.
So again, that's a growing pain we have to deal with, but it's also a part of economic growth. So it's how do we balance the two? How do we get the two to coexist?
Right.
Is our challenge. Our next opportunity is the old lagoons from our wastewater treatment plant down on the far east downstream end of town. With our new sewer treatment plant, we now have about 7 acres of land that are suddenly available to us to plan for the future with. So that's a big, exciting opportunity is what do we do with that 7 acres? We can do everything from environmental access along the river, waterfront access, true river access, maybe some rafting, bird watching, all the way over to maybe some of our own industrial small shop development. Why can't we have small 5-man shops, machine shops or repair shops out there that again create jobs in, maybe the city can get some rent rather than the Port District,
Sure.
compete with the Port District a little bit. Again, looking for other ways for the city to get some revenue and make use of what the city has the resource to do.
You have a great park along the river. Is the river underutilized as far as it runs right through town?
I don't know if it's underutilized, but through town, while the river's right there, there's very little access directly to it because
Right.
of either development or, the levee is quite steep.
Sure.
So there is no beach there. You can go down off it, you can throw your inner tube in, you can raft it, you can kayak it. Remember, it's cold water. And we get a lot of rafters taking out of there during the rafting season in the summer and kayaking. So there is a lot of activity there that we can maybe expand upon by being able to go another mile downriver to this other property. And there's been talk in the valley too of some kind of I'm not sure what it is, but a kayak park. I'm not sure where the kayak park is, but there's talk among the kayaker group that they want more challenging whatever kayak park brings to them. So okay, there's people thinking of ideas of how to use that river.
Well, I'm glad you're the mayor and I'm not.
It's a lot of fun.
Because that's a lot on your plate right there, Jim.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here this morning. Be safe traveling home.
I will.
Okay.
I got the skis in the car. I'm going.
Okay, all right, there you go. Cashmere Mayor Jim Fletcher joining us on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll come back and wrap it up right after this.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks. So bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
Thanks once again to Jim Fletcher, Mayor of Cashmere, for joining us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Tomorrow morning here, we're going to have the new royal court, a queen and 2 princesses, join us on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Again, the winter storm warning in effect till 10 o'clock this morning, maybe another 4 inches of snow. The snow continues to pile up outside. Closure of Snoqualmie Pass, Blewett Pass, change required. Closure of Tumwater Canyon with a detour from Coles Corner through through Plain and into Leavenworth. That way, we have school delays here with a 2-hour delay for most of our local schools. In fact, Wenatchee, Eastmont, Cashmere, all delayed by 2 hours this morning. No school for Quincy or for Moses Lake. Be safe, and we'll see you again tomorrow on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.